NCBM 0324, Section 2.4, Rounding and Finance Formula Practice, Part 3. As we've seen in our other class, these annuity formulas can take on a couple of different versions of themselves. So in our last example, we were calculating the future value, but now what if we need to find that future value payment? So by the formula, we see here that a lot of it remained the same. We just kind of flipped around, right? Solving for the payment part resulted in the flipping of the fraction, which then makes the calculator part a little bit trickier. It can be a little bit trickier. So let's take it again step by step. We have our values. We have $100,000. We're looking for the payment. Our interest rate, time, and M are already set. Plugging in our values, we see this version of our formula, right? This setup is our original setup. And similar to our last example, I'm going to do this multiplication first. It's just the easier one. Let's get that one out of the way. So 4 times the 20 gives us now the power of 80. So now we're going to concentrate on entering this into the calculator. Now also similar to what we did in our last example, I'm going to start with this 1 plus the fraction parentheses part. So I'm going to go with the 0.07 divided by 4. That's what I'm going to enter first, and that gives me 0.0175. So that's this part here, plus 1 gives me my next decimal. I'm keeping track of it in my calculator. That's the inside of these parentheses here. Now comes the power. So I'm going to raise it to the 80th power. Again, check to see what your calculator has for that exponent button, or that raising button. And that gives me this new value, 4.006391924. Right? We're on the right track here. Then what else do we do from the fraction here? We're going to subtract 1. Let's subtract 1. Gives me my new number. Now here's where we're going to try something different. Notice every time we did a next operation, in this case subtract 1, we see this ANS pop up. So what the calculator is doing for me, and this happens automatically when we do operations in this order, but what this ANS, this stands for the answer. So what the calculator understands is to take the number that we had previously. We don't see it anymore, but it's taking the value right above and plugging it in for us. And that's helpful, so we don't have to write down all those decimal places. If we were to clear our calculator, that would get cleared out and we'd have to go back and recalculate it, write down those decimals, and then enter those decimals. But again, I'm using this calculator to my advantage. So without clearing, I now need to do my larger division. But this is in the opposite order. Now this decimal needs to be on the bottom. So to enter it, I'm going to enter the numerator exactly as I see it. Not clearing the calculator. I'm going to do parentheses, 0.07 divided by 4, close parentheses. I'm not going to enter. I'm going to do my double division. Now my large division here, divided, outside the parentheses is my larger division. I need to bring back that decimal that we just calculated in the line before my calculator. In this particular calculator, it has this ANS button. So when I hit it, the calculator understands, fill this division part here with the answer that we just had. And then I press enter. Now, if your calculator does not have an ANS button, right, check to see if you have to press the shift button to get there. But if it doesn't have that anywhere, look for this store and recall feature, and then check your manual to see how to use them exactly. But this store you can use to save decimals, and then recall, bring them back if you need to. Last resort, you can always just write down a lot of these decimals and just keep entering them. Again, we're talking money, so it's important that we only round once. So now I have my answer. It's a really small decimal. Notice scientific notation. This is what it would look like if we write it out down here. But this decimal is representing all of that messy fraction. All of this equals to this certain number here. And our final step, like I said before, we're going to multiply, in this case, by the future value, that 100,000, leaving us with 582.0931017. But they do ask us to round to the nearest cent. So again, two decimals, go all the way up to the 9, look to the number to the right, in this case it's a 3, so that means that the 9 is going to remain the same, giving our final answer, our final payment, of $582.09.